Hello there, everybody. Greetings and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, this is the episode we do every Sunday afternoon. I try to get it out by noon. Depends on what's going on in the morning, but try to get it out by noon. Basically, this episode just talks about what we're doing on the channel for the week. We also sometimes talk a little bit about the future, maybe a little bit about the past if something needs correcting. And so that's what we do on this episode. Nothing needs correcting for the past. As you can see, my wall of voodoo is back in place, and I'm ready to go. So for this week, we have basically 5 regular shows plus a mini series that will run from Monday to Friday. So the only mini series, the only regular show that won't go is the Saturday night one, which I've now decided that I need more time to do this and not be cramming it as much as I have been. So what I do is I've been listening to this stuff during the week and then try to cram in all of the prep work on the Saturday, which is often too much, and I spend too much of my day doing that when I have other things I have to do. So I do apologize for my coughing. Let us get a water here going. I made a little bit of a dry throat today. So anyways, so that show I think is going to go to bi-weekly, both metal and exploring the prog universe. So you'll have 2 weeks between each episode. So that basically means about once a month I'll be doing that, which makes sense because it's a much more involved episode than anything else. So without further ado, let's get underway with what's happening this week. I need my glasses here. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. So the first episode that we normally do is called, after this episode, which comes out today, this week, the next episode we normally do is Monday night's look back at a classic rock album. This week I've chosen this one off of my playlist, the debut album of none other than Camel. At least I believe this is the debut album. Yep, I think this is the debut album. Camel's debut album. So we'll be doing that for Monday night's look back at a classic rock album. I hope to see you there for that. The next episode up is for this week, because they switch off. So you have album sides one week and then ranking the songs from an album the other week. So this week it's ranking the songs. And I've chosen this album because I've been listening to it a little bit this week. I actually love this album, so it'll be really a pleasure to do this one. So we're doing the Beatles Revolver for ranking the songs off of an album. Hopefully we can see y'all out for that as well. The next episode out that we normally do is called, which is on Wednesday night, is called Favorites. This week I'm doing my 25 favorite third albums, or tertiary albums if you prefer, of the band at that time. So sorry, not of that time, of all time. Sorry, I'm Freudian slip there. Anyway, so I've done, for those of you who have followed me, you'll see that I have done the debut albums and the sophomore albums, and now we're going to do the third albums. At some point, a couple people have mentioned to me to do the last album, so at some point I will do that one as well. 25 favorite last albums, but for this week we're going to do the tertiary or third albums by a band. I mean, the iconic thing about the third albums, especially back in the day, is that those third albums usually were the breakout albums for a lot of bands. So it'll be interesting to see what I choose for that. I'm not even sure yet what I'm going to choose for that. So next up is Thursday night, and we normally do an episode of What's New, which is a series of episodes that I do every week, which involve albums that came out in the year that we're currently in. In this case, it's 2024. I pick a new album that's come out that year, listen to it, review it, talk about it. The thing I like the best about this is it's often groups that I have never heard before. So that's great for me and for you. So the next series that normally comes out is, of course, on Saturday nights, but we are going to change that slightly. As you've heard, I mentioned it at the beginning of the episode. So this week it would have been exploring the Prog verse, or the progressive universe. We are going to do Genesis, but I've decided to give myself 2 weeks between episodes for both that series and metal. So you'll get a 2-week hiatus, and then this will come out, and then a 2-week hiatus, and then metal will come out. I just find that gives me more time to actually listen more intently to the albums, because that's the biggest part of this series, is you got to listen to this music, and it takes up a lot of time. And then I find on the last day I'm doing a lot of writing and reading and stuff to get through, and I just don't have the time to do all of that in one day. So I've decided that it makes sense to go to like a bi-weekly rotation between these two shows. So that's it for the regular shows. The only other notable, actually I'll talk about that after. So the next thing is the mini series that we're going to do, which is going to be called Would This Work? Now, this idea came to me when I've not wanted to do something like this since I was a kid. I don't know if any of you follow Marvel Comics or have ever read any of those comics, but there used to be a series called What If, and it was run by the character, or narrated by the character called the Watcher. And in that, he would talk about how there's multiple universes. What if in this universe this happened instead of what we've come to know? And that's what I'm going to do here. It's called an alternate universe type of thing. So I've chosen 5 bands. I'll name each of them for you. Gentle Giant, ELP, Pink Floyd, Hawkwind, and last but not least, Jethro Tull. And so what I'm going to do for this series is it's going to be like a Watcher thing, where it's an alternate universe, and these bands exist in the alternate universe, but instead of having the vocalist that they start out with, they get one of the vocalists from one of the other bands. And how I determined this was by dice roll. So for the first one, I chose the other 4 vocalists from the other 4 bands. I rolled the dice. The highest one went with them. So we're going to have 5 interesting kind of concepts. So the first one that will come out will be called will be featuring Hawkwind, and instead of having David Brock as their lead vocalist, they're going to have Derek Shulman. The second episode is Jethro Tull, which will feature David Gilmour on vocals instead of Ian Anderson. The third one will be Gentle Giant, which will feature Greg Lake on vocals rather than Derek Shulman. The fourth episode will be Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which will feature David Brock. Right off the bat, you know that not going to be Emerson, Lake and Palmer anymore, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And then the last episode will be called Pink Floyd. Will feature Pink Floyd with, of course, Ian Anderson on vocals. And we're just going to talk about whether this would work or not, or how this would work according to an alternate universe. Now, I know that some of you are going to say, well, the initial Jethro, or the initial vocalist for Pink Floyd was Syd Barrett. We're going to take it a little bit further. So Ian Anderson will kind of replace Syd Barrett as the vocalist instead of David Gilmour replacing him. So we'll be interested to see how this is all going to work out. I don't even know how this is going to go myself. It'll just be, I'm going to think about it and bring up what positive things could happen, what positive things might not happen, whether it'll even work at all, whether it be a totally different sound. Maybe it's going to be the same sound, or maybe they'll become like the band the vocalist was from originally. There are all kinds of different possibilities here. So we're just going to go with it as the Watcher's universe. And so this series will be called Would This Work? Progressive rock bands, Would This Work? So anyways, I hope that you'll enjoy watching this series. It's just a hypothetical, but sometimes we need to have a little bit of fun at that kind of thing as well. So that's what I am planning to do. For the future of the channel, for stuff coming up in the next month or so, I was going to start another mini-series that was going to start on Friday night, running one episode for 5 weeks, but I decided to put that on hold for now. I have fixed my email, I hope, anyways, and so I'm going to be having discussions with Ben about a possible return to Ben's album challenge, and he has an idea which I am intrigued by. I think will work, and hopefully we can set that up for whatever night we'll decide to do that. I'm guessing it won't start till next week because I haven't had a chance to speak to him yet, but that's one thing we're going to be working on. In the future, I'm going to continue, at least for the time being, doing the mini-series. They seem to fit my schedule easier to do for me rather than the month-long series. And yeah, so that's it for the future at this point in time. Everything else will remain the same, no changes, except for this week, which is the episode we're doing now, will return on its normal spot every week. I tried changing it up and doing something different, see if it would work, and I didn't really find that I had as much time with it as I thought I would, and it was dragging some of the videos too long, so I decided that if I put it all back together on the Sunday, but try to keep it shorter than it was before. So having said that, I'm now going to finish this episode by saying I hope to see you all again during the week. Please hit the notification bells so that you don't miss any of the episodes. Please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. And please make any comments or anything that you would like to see, or anything that you have a suggestion for, in the comment section below, and I will attempt to do what I can for that. So I hope you have a good evening or a good day, and we will see you during the week. Take care. Goodbye.